and Taylor, where the really hard problems are, and they identify the phase transition. How did you get hold of that paper, Ian? Were you at the conference?
So, I'm just going to sneak in so you can see.
Yeah, it's really there.
Interesting, quite a similar thing happened to me, but it was the next year, in '92, and in the research group in Edinburgh, in Aaron Bundy's research group, people would give talks about papers they found interesting. And Toby Walsh came back from the conference, AAAI, and gave a talk about a follow-up paper to this one on SAP by some combination, in some order, Mitchell, Selman and Levesque.
Yeah.
And that's how I got interested in it. So it's quite a similar thing.
Yeah. So I started working this is 1991, and we had an open channel of communication, Barbara and me. We were emailing each other, sending each other program codes, bits of maths, results, continuously. And I also had an open line of communication with Tad Hogg. I don't know why I've done this, but I kept printed. Maybe it's the Bernard-Liddell effect. You print off your emails and put them in a file somewhere. And you think, well, is there a date on this? Probably don't even have a date. So this was the kind of things we were, modes of communication, the tables of results and running programs to analyse them and to check them, bits of maths. So there was one bit of maths where we got really confused. What's the date?
June 1993.
That's okay, so that's a bit later for that one. So we got some things where we couldn't understand. We weren't in agreement, and then we find out this should be M, not N. So amazing things like that, and then everything falls into place. So I don't think we started working together until, well, I'll get to it. So I then wrote a paper, and Barbara did too, and it's called Binary Constraint Satisfaction Problems. Some are harder than others. And this was the phase transition, CLR standard course. Everybody goes like this. You tell somebody who does phase transition research, it's like, bless you, my son. So there was a session, do you remember? And
yeah.
Barbara came on first, and she presented her work.
I've got a side note on this paper, this is the only paper of Patrick's I ever reviewed. Because I reviewed this for the conference, and I didn't know Patrick at that point. And then after that, we were too close, I couldn't review his papers anymore.
So it's Barbara first. There was one session, Barbara first. Did somebody drop their slides?
I dropped my slides.
And you were on next. Who's on next? It was Ian Gent and Toby. And then we went and had a canteen lunch. So this was Amsterdam. And we walked to some sort of strange subterranean canteen, and there were only the four of us. And we realised we were all really should be working together. So it's like me and Barbara, you and Toby, and it became four. And we worked on this. So tremendous, absolutely tremendous amount of creativity. And there was also an AIJ paper that came out right about the same time. So we then went on and developed constrainedness. And there was a key moment in that. We went to a conference in France, and there was a beach, and there were conversations that took place on the beach outside the conference on this. Yeah. So that's 95, CP 95.
Yep.
And then we came back and worked on a theory that would locate the phase transition. And it's remarkably simple. It's just based on the size of the solution space, the log of it, and the expected number of solutions. So it's very simple to use this anyway. So let's see if I get any notes on this. Let's see. Now, it was, what would we say about kappa? It was was this common parameter for what we would hope was the phase transition in any NP complete decision problem. And then you and Toby took it up above a complexity class to cover P space, and we also took it down to look at things like arc consistency. So it was this nice hierarchy, and it seemed to be consistent throughout it. I've always thought that every piece of work here should have kappa on the x-axis. But the other thing that was lovely is that we could use it to design heuristics to solve the problems. So we proposed that you make a decision that would minimize the constrainedness. So if you've got an equation for constrainedness, you could sit down and work out how to minimize it. So you could go into a problem you've never seen before and engineer a heuristic. Or you could go into an area that's using a heuristic and you say, is that the right one? Are they on the right track? And this piece of work has caused me a lot of frustration because, as I said, I think that everybody in this area should be having kappa on the x-axis, and I think that everybody that's developing heuristics should be looking at this to decide whether they're on the right tracks or not. And I think I know why that's not happened. Because of the title, the constrainedness of search. It should have been called a theory on the phase transition on combinatorial decision problems. And then anybody who types things in Google, this would jump up. So there's just a small number of people in the constraint programming area that they're using. So that's been cited a couple of hundred times, but it should just be the standard. So, in this way, I think that this paper's been a little bit of a failure.
Sorry, my friend, he's attacking me. It must have been my title.
Well, I don't know. I've got my name on it too, so I'll have to take some of the blame. You know. So let me tell you what I've been doing recently.
Yeah.
On this. Pankaj Singh and myself have been looking at independent set and clique, the same problem. And how did we get to that problem? David Manlove has been looking at the kidney exchange program for the United Kingdom, where you have couples. So maybe you need a kidney and Judith can donate it, but it wouldn't match you. And I need a kidney, Andrew would donate it, but it won't match you. So we could do something between the four of us. And then we could go to 6 people. So then you have to do 6 operations simultaneously. So you're matching these things up on a large number of people. So this is what David's doing. David's saving lives, absolutely. Wonderful piece of work. So I've been using constraint programming earlier on just to confirm his results, because it got to be optimal, as you can imagine. Lives are involved. And then abstracting away and abstracting it right down to independent set. So it reduces to that. So then you read them. So I was going to do experiments on it. And the first thing you do is say, okay, what are the heuristics I should use? So for independent set, you would think, oh, well, the heuristic would be to choose a vertex that's adjacent to least others. Yeah? And select it, and then pull another one that's adjacent to least others. And if it was clique, you choose a vertex that was adjacent to most, and pull it in, and keep doing that. So you code that up. You read the literature, you code that up, and then you think, well, if that's good, the opposite of it should be really lousy. And we can do these experiments because we don't need ethical approval. We just generate our own graphs, nobody gets hurt. And you do the experiments and you find out that the literature is wrong. So then you go and you develop kappa for independent set, kappa for clique. You work out how you would minimize it, and it says to minimize kappa for independent set, choose the vertex of highest degree. Because it leaves a subproblem with vertices that are more isolated. And conversely for clique. And you do the experiments, and you get results that are orders of magnitude better. You go and you read in the literature, you open the handbook on algorithms. It says you choose, it gives the wrong heuristic. No evidence to support it. So this annoys me.
anything else you think that constraints people should be looking at?
I can't think of that. I mean, it's such a it's such a discipline where people are moving on all fronts. But yeah, I think one thing that constraint programming community should be doing is making a point of every so often publishing outside the constraint area. Go and publish in discrete mathematics or journals on algorithms to spread the word. I'll give you an example. I've been reading literature on independent set and clique, and I've read some papers where people say, and this is the best algorithm ever. And then you think, oh, hold on a minute, and you read a paper by Jean-Charles Regin. Jean-Charles Regin came up with an encoding for maximum clique, and he did his experiments, and he did them over all 66 Dmax benchmarks, reported his results, totally honest, beautiful piece of work, what you'd expect of Jean-Charles Regin, right? You look at his results to those appearing outside the constraint literature, they're not citing it, they claim that they're faster. Gradually, over the last few years, some of those authors have picked up Jean-Charles' work. And you never guess what some of them have done. They've taken their 66 benchmarks, some of them report 44. So they exclude some of the results that Jean-Charles has produced and still claim that they're faster than Jean-Charles. So we shouldn't be allowing that. If we've got a good result, we should also publish it elsewhere so that people know. I've spoken to Jean-Charles about this. I know it's kind of official. So I think we need to go outside as well. Let other people know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it as everyone else. So we need to go and do that.
Patrick, I want to ask you why are we doing this video in your conservatory?
My conservatory, because I can't get this through the metal detector at Glasgow Airport.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're sitting together.
Next year maybe. Oh, that could be a camera operator.
Hi. So we're having a conversation. I've got more than the average number of legs, and you've got less than the average.
Well, it's interesting if the average number of legs in Britain is less than 2.
Yes. The average number of legs in this room is less than 2.
It's less than 2. Zoe?
Hello there.
Come here.
How you doing?
Hi.
Say hello. Come here.
Hi. We're doing a video.
Ian Gent. Sit down so you can actually see the head. How are you, darling?
Good, how are you
Good,
guys?
okay. Say hello to everybody at ACP.
Do you want some tea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want chocolates as well?
Yeah, alright.
Good.
How'd you take your tea?
Just fine.
White.
Okay, okay.
Oh, you can chop things up on your bits.
No.
Put it in adverts.
We're just gonna.
Is it? It's just going to be
That's
like,
the way it is.
it's going to be like Apocalypse in a row.
Yeah.
3 hours. That could be cool, couldn't it? So. Finished?
So have I finished?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Have you finished?
I'm finished ages ago.
Oh.